Have you seen Chappell Roan's new video? It's very hairy. And since this is the detangler where we talk about hair because it is so important that we humans keep on returning to it over and over in our art, rituals, and legends, let's give a lot of focus to Chappell Roan's new hairy video for the subway. Now, if you don't know who Chappell Roan is, I assume you've been living under a rock for the past year or so. She is one of the best of today's pop icons. She's one of those came from nowhere overnight sensations that was actually years and years and years in the making. She's from some small town in Missouri and then blossomed after she came to LA and met a bunch of drag queens, and she herself considers herself some sort of a drag queen. She wears wonderful costumes and she's so imaginative. She's really good at storytelling in her songs, and she sings with such catchy tunes and a really great voice. So I was pretty excited to see her new video regardless, but when it was all about hair, well, clearly I had to put out a new video on that. So The Subway is one of those songs about lost love and just trying to deal with it and getting over it, and all of the phases you go through, all of the heartbreak, all of the different kinds of games you play in your own mind. And she uses hair as a metaphor throughout the video for all of those struggles. It starts out where she's on the subway in New York, and Chappell Roan herself has like this amazing cousin it down to the floor hairdo of her big red curls. Totally gorgeous. But then she sees this woman who has the same kind of hairdo except all in green, and she sings about seeing her green hair on the subway and how heartbroken she is because she's not with her anymore. So then the video goes and takes you through a montage of her memories, her flashbacks, her fantasies, and supposedly her real life as she's processing this heartbreak. The first time she thinks she spies her ex-lover on the subway with that mass of green hair, it turns out to be the Green Lady of Brooklyn, which is such a delightful cameo. The Green Lady is this woman who's like in her 80s and just delights in wearing all green and has been doing so for many, many years. So what a treat to see her in Chappell Roan's video. But we keep following Chappell Roan through all of her, like I said, fantasies, past and present, flashbacks, dreams, wishes, and every now and then we return to this image, this overhead view of Chappell Roan just in this mass of abundant, beautiful hair, but there are rats running throughout it. So it's a metaphor just for like your heartbreak. You may be in all of this luxury and all of this bliss. You may think your life is really just great, but there are rats running through it. There's an undercurrent of heartbreak and of distress and of grossness that just mars even the most wonderful moments. If you've ever been heartbroken, I'm sure you can relate to that. It's a symbol of how relationships are never perfect. They're always infested with something going through them that's just going to eat away at what seems to be so nice. So then we see Chappell Roan in full-on business attire in a taxi, and she thinks she spies her ex from the taxi. So she quickly runs out of the car and gets her hair trapped in it and gets dragged along for presumably a long way throughout New York, getting all sorts of trash and detritus stuck in her long, long hair. I think she's showing here with the suit how she's going through the motions. She's still going to work. She's still trying to have a regular life, but she's always looking for her ex out there. And then with all the trash getting stuck in her hair as she's being dragged along behind the car, it's similar to the rats infesting this beautiful hair. You can't escape the ugly bits, the ugly realities, all of these memories, these pains that have tormented you, and they're getting trapped in the hair. I guess it's been a bit of a TikTok trend to talk about how hair holds memories, and that goes way, way back longer than before TikTok existed. But it's really brought to life here how each of these bits of trash are symbolically meaning the trash that has ruined her relationship, and how they're just stuck in this length of time, which is symbolic with her length of hair. So throughout the video, Chappell Roan keeps going back and forth between all of these different versions of herself. And sometimes she's in a subway car full of drag queens and she herself is in drag makeup. It's one of the personas that people often wear while they're suffering through heartbreak, is trying to just be shiny like your former lively self, trying to dress up, put on makeup, dance, have fun, even if your heart is broken. And good for Chappell Roan, you know? She's talked often about how drag queens saved her life, how they really helped her to find herself. So naturally, I think in her version, that would be her safe space after suffering heartbreak. But she can't really escape her heartbreak. So in another version of herself, we see her still with her drag makeup on, but now she's bathing in the fountain at Washington Square Park, and all of her hair is drenched and she's trying to cleanse herself. That's another metaphor. I mean, that goes back, if you think of like 1958 South Pacific. I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair and send him on his way. Get the picture? Well, Chappell Roan's doing it again, trying so hard to wash that love out of her hair. But does it work? It's just one of the things you gotta go through, I suppose. In the very next scene, we see Chappell Roan again in business attire with a newspaper in front of her face, but then when it whips away because the wind is bustling all around her, we see that her hair is cut short. And now this is really a common metaphor that we see throughout art and literature and movies, where at the end of a relationship, at the beginning of a new chapter in your life, chop up all that hair. In the TikTok trend that I was mentioning earlier, it's called the therapeutic chop, but it goes way back before then. If you look at Frida Kahlo's painting of when she chopped off all of her hair after Diego Rivera cheated on her, there you go. If you look at lots of movies, Mulan cuts off all of her hair when she's done being the obedient daughter and now she's going to be a warrior. Sliding Doors, Gwyneth Paltrow's character, when she accepts the breakup, she chops off her hair in that parallel universe reality. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, when she comes back to life and she's heartbroken about being ripped out of heaven, cuts off all of her hair. It's a really common trope that we see, that at this stage where you're changing your life, cut off all your hair and start fresh. So that's what we see Chappell Roan doing, where her hair is now short and she's singing, busting out, "She got away." She's got away. She's got away. It's a little bit of a pun there, or not pun, what's the word? Just a play on words. Anyway, she recognizes that this love is gone. Her ex is out of her life. She can't just move to Saskatchewan. She's got to move on with her life. She's got to grow a new head of hair, start a new chapter, start the clock back. Because as I've mentioned often on this channel, hair is a measurement of time. So cutting off all that hair, you're starting the clock again. You know, that chapter's over. All of that length of time, length of hair is gone. It's cut, it's over. And now you're going to start growing a fresh head of hair, a fresh life. It's a sad but powerful moment, I think. So we keep going back and forth between her with the wind whipping around her and this new shortcut, and her in the fountain at Washington Square Park trying to wash that love out of her hair, her on the train in her drag makeup trying to just be happy in the light of it all, and her in reality also on the train but in just plain makeup, just feeling heartbroken. And then toward the end we get a new scene where she's climbing up this Jack and the Beanstalk, Rapunzel's tower kind of big green, long, endless ladder of hair. And she's just climbing up and up and up and up. And that's where the video ends, with this image of her climbing up this endless ladder of green hair. Unachievable. She's never going to make it to the top. I mean, that's the reality. And we see her kind of hanging there somewhere in the middle, sort of knowing for herself, or at least that's what I read into it, that no matter how high she climbs, she's never going to reach that particular peak. But it doesn't quite end there, because there's a little coda at the end where she sort of wakes up from this reverie on the train back in her normal plain makeup, and she's still going through it, because heartbreak takes a while. She's going to have to grow a whole new head of hair before she feels all right again. It's the way love is. Even if you're Chappell Roan. Maybe especially if you're Chappell Roan. How else would she come up with those brilliant songs if she didn't have her heart broken a few hundred times, right? Well, anyway, thank you for watching. This is The Detangler. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. Please like this video. Please join as a member. Send me a thanks. Tell your friends. Get a haircut. Show me what it looks like. Just say hi. Leave a comment. Tell me if you like Chappell Roan. Hey, you know, this is my third video where I have recommended a song, and I think I have a really good track record. So let me know if you like my musical taste and if I should pivot from only focusing on hair to focusing on music and hair, or just music. Anything's possible. Till next time.